Over the 2 weeks, there's moments that we've all can look back. Even if you're not a sports fan, you may have heard a story that has touched the heartstrings or watched a moment yourself that made you cry. And there's a few in particular that stood out for me in this Olympics. And one of them was at the beginning when the three sisters were competing together, and two of them actually stood on the podium, gold and silver, and the third they all embraced as though they all won a medal. And I mean, their families must have been so incredibly proud.
And so I would go to my friend, and he would do more healing work with me to help release these subconscious beliefs that were having me want to go into fear. And so what I ended up doing, and this is actually how I met Gail. This is such an interesting story, because I said to her, you know, speaking here tonight is taking me back to when she and I met. Because 2 weeks before January 23rd, she and I had gone to this weekend workshop together, and from that weekend workshop, I realized I wanted to be doing workshops. I didn't want to be doing what I was doing.
So I'm at the TED Global. We're in the Oxford Playhouse. I'm up in the balcony, and as soon as you sit down, you just talk to the people that you're with. And I said, this is so amazing. I have to bring this back to Nova Scotia. He says, you can do that. They have this program called TEDx. It's an individually organized TED event. We put on the first one in Singapore. Guess who I sat beside? So I came back to Nova Scotia, said, I've got to do this. Looked into it. There was a TEDx going on, TEDx Halifax. So I joined in with Greg Oldford, who was putting that on. That worked out. I then applied for and got the TEDx Nova Scotia license. Only province. It's so cool. Yeah, I know.
You know, it's in giving that we receive, right? Like we all kind of chant that chant around Christmas time, you know, holiday time. It's the giving that we receive. And I've really kind of found out that we most often receive the most when we give what we least want to give to people who least expect it and often can't pay us back. So I have learned remarkable things from guys on the street. And I've watched as one guy who's panhandled all day dumped his cup of change into another guy's cup of change. And I didn't hear the exchange. But it was one of the most moving experiences to watch, like in slow motion. I was up in a building about 5 or 6 floors up and watched it, and I knew the two guys, so it's very, very interesting.
And I had the most extraordinary 6 months, and probably the most sustained period of deep, deep peace and joy and love in my life. And so I became really interested in the being state of life. Much more in the being state of life than the doings state of life. And I would venture to guess that perhaps you may be a little out of balance when it comes to the doing state of life versus the being state of life, which is about being silent, being quiet, being reflective, being meditative, whatever your practice may be.
What I realized in that drive home was that I knew exactly who I was, and I always had. It was the childhood programming of, you got to play it small and quiet, can't show up, can't be seen, never draw attention to yourself, that I had been taught, and my brother as well. My parents had been taught from their parents. It was all about protecting us, of course, because when you're visible, when you're out, you know, there's judgment sometimes. And they were just simply trying to find an easy way for me to get through life when, oh boy, easy was just not at all fun.